Chairman, in following up with my good friend from Virginia, Mr. Connolly, Chairman Mullen himself stated that the Haqqani network is operating with Pakistan support. Secretary Clinton warned the President of Pakistan about this. Recently, I was in Pakistan last November. We talked to President Zardari about this, but in his terms, he said, we don't pick and choose between terrorist organizations, we go after them all. So I see a bit of a conflict. And of course, we get briefed on this. They say, well, they have the terrorists that are in the good bin and those in the bad bin. And so where does the truth lie? I guess, Mr. Feldman, you're the man of the hour.
I am the man of the hour. Sir, as Chairman Mullen said, and as I was attempting to try to say before, he expressed the administration's view that continuing safe havens are extremely troubling and we have to see action taken against them. But he also emphasized in the exact same testimony that we need to continue to stay engaged to be able to do that. And he cautioned against signs of disengaging with Pakistan.
Well, and then also the report came out that Haqqani was behind the Afghan attacks against the U.S. envoy just last, in April of this year.
Yes.
They're killing our soldiers, and the idea that the Pakistanis could be complicit in working with them, which I personally believe is true, is very troubling to policymakers like ourselves, and particularly when it comes to foreign aid. Could the Secretary certify today that the Pakistani government is in no way working with the Haqqani network?
Well, that's one of the certifications that we're working through right now on a staff level, and we don't have an answer for you at this point. But we are taking that certification, which I know you've been quite involved with, very, very seriously, and trying to look at it as soberly as possible. Look, we need to be in a position where, in every engagement with the Pakistanis, we can continue to show the need for increased cooperation on extremists, including among the Haqqani network, which pose a threat to both of us. And there's clearly more that could be done, but the way that we continue to try to get this done is through increased engagement. And as Secretary Clinton said when she was there last, it's through issues like the financing networks, on intelligence sharing, on working with law enforcement personnel to deny safe haven, and we raise this at every opportunity, at every level in all of our engagement.
And I totally agree with the engagement issue. I just think, again, when it comes to being able to certify whether or not Pakistan, ISI, or government at any level is working with Haqqani, it sounds like this is a work in progress within the administration in terms of whether or not they can certify that question.
It's indeed a work in progress, but I can tell you very honestly, it's still happening at the staff level where we're collecting all the data and looking at the range of criteria.
Are you aware of any evidence that they are cooperating and working together?
There's a range of evidence, and depending on the certification for the steps that they have taken countering extremism and terrorism, including on Taliban, including on Quetta Shura, and less on the Haqqani network, but continued efforts to try to encourage joint.
Well, I would encourage to continue that pressure. I know the Secretary is very good at that. She's smart. I know she's putting that pressure on. I want to echo the Chair's comments about trade. When we met with President Zardari, and I just want to pass this along, he said, really what I want is more trade, not aid.
Yes.
And we had dinner with some Pakistani businessmen who are working with the Indians, and there are actually now some pretty closer business ties between Pakistan and India, which I think long-term it will resolve a lot of this tension between the two countries that has caused so many problems for us here as well. Last question I want to ask Ms. Biswal. In Herat, there's been kind of an experiment going on with 5 different things: healthcare, water, food, and jobs and training, job training, and education, to kind of have a more holistic approach to our aid to that area in Afghanistan. USAID, there have been a lot of problems with the way it's I think, functioned in Afghanistan. This has been a sort of joint project with USAID and the NGOs. And I would ask that you look at what's going on in Herat as a potential model for the rest of the country. I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on there or not, or if you can comment on that.
I would defer to my colleague, Alex Thayer, on that.
Okay. Mr. Chair?
Yeah, hi, thank you. I'm not obviously certain which project you're referring to. I have been to Herat recently, and if you've been, Herat is the place in Afghanistan when you visit, you think if the rest of the country could look like this in a decade, we'd be doing well.
Right.
So I fully endorse the notion that there have been some very successful programs there, and I want to link it to this broader issue, which is that Herat is a trading city. It has always been a trading city, and its strength is drawn from the fact that they have very successfully in the last 10 years rebuilt trade relations going in every direction, which I think is contributing to the prosperity of the city. And one of the things that we're really trying to do in Afghanistan, in that part as well as other parts, is to really provide these tools of self-sufficiency so that more Afghans are building their own sustainable livelihoods rather than depending on.
I would ask that you look at that model and see what they're doing there, because it's working. Even the Taliban is, some Taliban members have come back to the village saying, we want to join you because we don't like our, they're doing it just for $5 a day, a lot of these guys, and they don't want to be with the Taliban. Now, the top leaders, you know, they are who they are. But I think we could win back a lot of the Afghan people through that kind